Hi, I'm Patton Oswalt here on Forbidden Planet TV to talk to you about Minor Threats, my new trade paperback collection that's coming from Dark Horse Comics.
Welcome to Forbidden Planet TV. I'm Andrew Sumner. This is Patton Oswalt. How are you, mate?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I am very well, thank you, and thanks so much for joining me again. It is now we are here to talk about the collected trade edition of your epic series, Minor Threats. How do you feel about it, Patton?
It feels. I mean, I feel about it two ways. I feel about it, as a writer and creator. Obviously, I'm really happy to have something that I wrote, co-wrote, now collected all four first issues. But then, as a comic fan, it's surreal. I buy trade paperbacks all the time, but here's one with my name on it. Here's one where I know the whole process of how it came together. So there's two kind of parallel feelings going on, but it feels great.
Yeah, it must do, and you must be extremely gratified by the response to the book.
Yeah, the positive reviews have been really fantastic, and people really got what it is. I mean, I think the thing that makes me the happiest is people really got what it is we were trying to do. That really meant a lot. That, oh, people understand what the focus of the book is and really care about the characters. So that meant a lot.
Yeah, and so for those who are intrigued by the book, but haven't picked up the individual issues, and as many fans do, waiting for the trade, what can you tell them about it?
Well, basically, it is a story about low level, C level, D level, working class, blue collar supervillains who are forced out of necessity to take down an A level, massive, esoteric, world conquering supervillain because the A level, world conquering superheroes are coming down really hard on the city after the A level villain has done something beyond the pale. So they're thinking our life is becoming impossible the way the heroes are cracking down. So maybe if we hand this guy over to them, we can get a little credit in the favor bank, so to speak.
And you've got such a wonderful bunch of collaborators on this book. Can you just talk us through them?
Yeah, we have Scott Hepburn is our artist. He was our artist on the 4-issue M.O.D.O.K series that we did for Marvel. And we just loved his work, and we loved his world building in this. We have Ian Herring that was on colors, really created this gorgeous, lit by kind of ugly light sources night world that these characters live in that really, you know, again, just set the mood. He was as much about defining the characters as anything we wrote, anything that Scott drew. And then, of course, we have Ian, Nate Piekos, the great Blambot,
Yeah.
doing our lettering. I've been a big fan of letterers ever since, I realized how amazing what Todd Klein did
Oh yeah.
for the Sandman books and a lot of the Vertigo stuff. So having a letterer like that really cares about what they're doing and is as good an actor, as we are writers in terms of like expressing emotions through the lettering. We really lucked out with this.
I think you did, and I totally agree with your assessment of his work. And also, I mean, for me, I hear what you're saying with the Todd Klein love. That he was just a genius. Todd Klein's a genius, but also somebody, I think one of the first people to do letters that made me think, oh man, you can deliver a performance with the letters.
Yes.
Was Klein, and was Bob Lapin on Justice League International.
Oh yeah, it's because he had to deal with a lot of comedy and a lot of comedic beats in that. So yeah, he was
Wow.
really good at expressing. Oh, here's what these voices sound like.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the. For me, he was, and this is after a lifetime like yourself of reading comics. He's one of the first people who's really adept at using lowercase script in addition to just the classical caps approach.
Oh yeah, really good. So yeah, we really lucked out with Nate.
What fascinated me about the book and what I truly enjoyed about it is, and I think the where you were kind of ploughing a sort of an uncharted furrow, if you will, is the fact that it's C-list and D-list villains, right? And I thought that was quite that was such an inspired choice, because there have been not many but a few comic books and other pieces of media about being fairly low down the food chain on the hero front. But where did the concept of, going into comic book villainy come from?
Well, I mean, we obviously had antecedents and stuff like John Ostrander's Suicide Squad
Oh
was
yeah,
a
yeah,
massive influence
yeah,
on us, as was Astro City.
yeah,
And then, of course, the Flash's Rogues Gallery is one of the first Rogues Gallery that really took into account the idea of monthly expenses and being a blue collar yeg rather than I'm going to conquer the world. These guys are out to make a buck and then enjoy their lives and then go back and do another crime. So there's that the systems that people create outside the law are always fascinating to me. Like, what does it mean to be loyal within that system? What does honesty look like in that system? Is there honor? Or is it more honorable that everyone goes into the system openly going, there's no honor? So is that a level of honesty that straight systems don't have? That stuff just endlessly fascinates me, and it's an endless argument, which I love.
yeah. No, it is truly fascinating. Of those books that you just mentioned, were you an Ostrander Suicide Squad fan from the get go?
Yeah, I remember picking up that book, must have been in college, but yeah, I just loved how they were showing this is going on while the bigger DC universe is going on. This is smaller stuff that on some levels is saving the world, but on other levels, I just love that there were certain issues where it was very much just a weird personal thing that Amanda Waller wanted. And
Yeah.
it was very personal and very low stakes. But that, it to me, just increased the drama, the level of drama and the level of stakes.
Yeah, I mean, true story. I used to be a music and movie journalist, and I used to write for the NME here in the UK. And the thing that got me that job was a student piece I wrote about Suicide Squad, Ostrander's Suicide Squad issue 1, and
Wow.
that review is what I submitted that got me my journalism career. I love the book, and I love the B movie energy that book had, and it was
Yeah.
really it's in a space completely of its own when it appeared. It was like nothing else, and it was like a beautiful secret that people found over time, I think.
Yeah, I thought it was an absolutely fantastic book.
Yeah, yeah. It's so interesting you talk about that. Something I wanted to ask you if you'd seen, which is not nowhere near the premise of Minor Threats, but operates in this wheelhouse of the C and the D list. Is, did you ever see the short-lived UK sitcom No Heroics? Does that ring any bells?
No, I've never heard of it.
Okay, so it's basically it's a six-part series that was created in around, let's say, shall we say, it was about maybe 2006, that ran on ITV in the UK. It's created by Drew Pearce, who's the guy who went on to co-write Iron Man 3, and he wrote the short that they made in the wake of Iron Man 3 about the Mandarin getting captured by the real.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Long live the king. Or
Long
yeah,
live, yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Yeah, he wrote that, and basically it's about a bunch of down at heel like British superheroes, which in itself is an interesting concept, right?
That's cool.
And it's about the bar they congregate at when they're off duty, and it stars a guy called Nicholas Burns, who's well known over here for starring in a show. It was called Nathan Barley. Have you ever heard of that? It's co-created by the dude who does Black Mirror.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. Nathan Barley. He is like this kind of wannabe hipster dude.
that's it, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And it's
Right
a
on.
kind of a piss take on like Vice magazine in the early aughts.
100%, yeah. The working title, I won't say here, but is a well-known British epithet beginning with C, right? Four-letter word beginning with C. That's what the actual script was, but I couldn't put out a show with that title. But it also has another one of the key characters is James Lance, who plays Trent Crim in Ted Lasso.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think
I'll
you
have to
get a
find
real
that.
kick out of it. It's 6 episodes. I bet you'd find it somewhere. It's been released on DVD. No Heroics, it's called. But I think
No Heroics. I will go look for that.
I think its sensibility would kind of appeal to you. And so in terms of Minor Threats, do you have more plans for the Minor Threats universe?
Yeah, we just actually announced that there is a sidequel, a little side piece that's been written, a series called The Alternates that we co-wrote with Tim Seeley.
Oh, wonderful.
Tim Seeley is amazing. So it covers a whole other area of the Minor Threats, Twilight City, Redport universe. So that's happening. And then there's other stuff happening that I'm not going to talk about yet, but we're keeping it very, very quiet.
So when is it coming out? When's it being released?
The alternates will be out later in the year. I don't know if we have the specific release date yet. We just announced the book. And we'll have the specific release dates very, very soon.
Well, that's so early in the process that I didn't pick that up myself, mate. So
yeah,
brilliant.
We just got announced the other day. So it's a very loving look at kind of 90s Vertigo alt comics, but how that fits into the world and what that looks like, how it affects human beings. So but you'll see. It's hard to describe, but it's really, really cool.
I mean, how does it feel having something within the comics wheelhouse that has been so influential upon you as a creator, as a performer, and to be able to have carved out your own section of it that's yours that you can go back to and extend?
Yeah, I mean, it feels amazing just in insofar as this is another creative outlet for me. This is another world that I get to play in. I like creating stuff, so it doesn't really have anything to do with whether it's comics or comedy or acting. I just like making stuff. So this is another thing that I get to make.
Yeah. Wow. And what's your secret with? I'm amazed by how multiple level busy you are and how much you manage to do. And what's it like spinning all those plates? Because I mean, you've got a multi-leveled career that you just spend so. And I know you're a happily married man and all of that stuff, But what's the secret to making all of that work?
Being excited about what you're doing, saying yes to projects that you actually, when you go to bed at night, you're thinking about it's saying yes to projects that you feel like you get to do rather than you have to do. That is the secret. Always try to do stuff that you feel like, oh my God, I get to do this. This is great. And that will keep you energized.
Yeah. Very well said, Patton. That's great to hear. And on that note, speaking of energization, so I look forward to talking to you about the alternates in the future, but Minor Threats, the collected edition, is available from the links attached to our conversation. And thanks so much for joining me today, mate. It's always a pleasure to see you.
My pleasure. Thanks, man.
If you're enjoying watching Forbidden Planet TV and you're enjoying watching us talk to the world's most interesting and accomplished filmmakers, authors, artists, musicians, creators, subscribe right here. See you soon.